There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. My guests today are returning Fred Van Lente and a first-timer in Joe Keating, and they are both involved in REKCAH Comics, and specifically, the future is, and then 6 stars, and the 6 stars is very important, and we'll get into that. Like I read about this, and I was excited to begin with, but then I saw Fred was involved, and I went, oh, okay. So they're serious about doing this right. Um, but I'm going to let you guys introduce it because it's such a cool concept that I don't want to fuck it up. And there's your also your indicator that we do put a parental advisory on all podcasts, so you can use whatever language you feel like.
Fucking great. We'll do it. And we also have the occasional salty language in the future
Right.
is that that's not enough letters. That's not enough
Yeah.
asterisks. Right. Joe, do you want to do the honors?
Sure. So the intro on the future is it is a ragtag team of hacking freebooters who come together under mysterious circumstances. It is written by Fred Van Lente and drawn by Enio Buffy.
Sure.
And yeah,
Nobody knows
no,
for
it's
certain.
it's the first ongoing series from REKCAH Publishing, who's been doing comics, kind of bridging comics and cybersecurity for a while now. We did an original book with myself and Rob Guillory from Chew and Farmhand called Bear vs. Bear. We also did adaptations that I edited for the Darknet Diaries podcast. We did two one shots of that, one with John Arcudi from BPRD and one with Owen Gianni from Rat Queens, and then one with Cody Chamberlain from the book called Sweets and Punks. But this is the first big ongoing series. This is like the other stuff we've done before. It's a lot of like direct to the reader and stuff you get on the site. But this is going hard in the comic shops. We are doing and we are announcing ahead of time, quite boldly but confidently, we're going to be doing 60 issues over 5 years, monthly in comic shops. And the bonus to all this is every cover is by a banger artist, like someone awesome. I that's my big directive. So we kick it off with Jay Lee. We've got Mike Huddleston. We've got Jim Mahfood, and it just goes on there. And
Rob.
Rob Guillory is going to be there. Mike Allred's on there. So
The Michael Art color cover is awesome.
yeah. So and to be clear, those aren't variants. That's the cover. So
Just
we're
one
just
cover. I kind of like that.
yeah.
As the guy who tries not to buy variants, and when there's variants, to manage to pick between, okay, I do like this variant, so I'm not getting the original cover, but then like Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss get all the cool people ever to draw the covers to
Yeah.
one issue, and it's like
Yeah, I think it's a great model for some people, but for me, it's just and for us, I should say, it's really just like how do we get the 60 issues and make it reliably awesome that whole time?
Right.
So, like we could put a bunch of them on number one, but I don't know. I think this is more interesting.
I did. I did too. I thank you. I thank you. Um,
No constant reboots. I think it's important that the retailer and the reader know that we have a commitment to the story and
Yeah.
a plan, a 5-year plan that we're sticking with.
so um, I'm actually going to read straight from, I think every comic, but certainly the first issue where it says the hacker wars are over. The Black Hats won. You no longer have rights, only terms of service. Um, which, if I'd seen that, I wouldn't have even needed to know that Fred was involved to be on board. Uh, yeah, talk to me about this near future, altogether too real vision of the world.
Yes. Yeah, I mean it's as the opening crawl describes, we basically have a kind of in many ways a kind of classic cyberpunk dystopia in that, nation states are impotent. Um the tech bros rule all, and into this world steps a collective known as Black Mountain, run by the mysterious Wheeler, all of whom have had their lives upended in some way by the bad actors in this new world, and plan to strike back and take some power back for the people. And I've been describing it to people as kind of a cyberpunk Mission Impossible. The main difference between the future is world and our world is something called augmented reality has become prevalent. Most people have heard of virtual reality. I wasn't super familiar with the term augmented reality until REKCAH started talking to me about it. But if you've ever played Pokemon Go, you've experienced augmented reality, right? Which is where there's a cyber world grafted onto our world that we see every day. It's just that in the future of the future is the intermediary of the phone has been eliminated, and the internet is being wired directly onto your eyeballs through neural implants. For a lot of people, that sounds awesome. For a lot of people, that's like a nightmare scenario that you never ever gonna get away from the internet. But that's the way it is. But this lets us do a lot of cool things visually. The most obvious thing is that there is a lot of people just wear skins all the time, like they are, like you can change the outfit of your avatar in a video game. That's how you change your look. There's one character called the Stray. It's a mysterious character called the Stray who always looks like a cat. Always has that cat skin up. You kind of
Right.
he's like Black Sod or something. And so the other fun thing about it is that you interact with the internet through sprites. So everyone has these kind of animal avatars, a la like the Golden Compass or something, where that's how you sort of go in and out of the cyber world and the code world, right? Which is what hackers do to exploit through shell code and other exploits. I've been very much with Joe boning up on my hacker terms.
I was actually thinking to myself
but
for comics geeks, if they want a taste of this, Alec Packnadle and Martin Simon's series, Friendo dealt with augmented reality thing as well, and shares a letter with you in Taylor Esposito.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Taylor's awesome.
So
but we're putting him through his paces on this one.
Yeah.
Artists, all the artists, the entire team is bringing their A game on this one.
Well, and in that vein, and I'm assuming this is more a Joe question. I don't know Ennio or Andrea Maloney. Where have I seen them or not seen them before? How did you? Because I will say their work is fantastic. So it's not I don't know them and oh, we got a great writer and mediocre art.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with the page design. I was really impressed with the storytelling, pacing, and structure. You know, this is a really good line art and color team.
Yeah.
That I've never heard of before.
Yeah. Well, they've been working out of Italy for years. I mean, Ennio's
okay.
Yeah. He did a Assassin's Creed book out there, and he did a bunch of other different things. But yeah, he's one of those guys from Italy. He was brought in a while ago. Right for my I started on the book, but yeah, we're working with a couple of them. We have a couple of artists who are going to be coming doing interstitial arcs and stuff like that. And yeah, the two of them are from Italy. So
oh, he did
they've
Carthago.
been working. What's that?
He did Carthago. That's where I know him.
Okay, cool.
Okay. When you said Italy, I started going, okay, what band did you say?
Yeah.
We try to go all over the place on this podcast.
I love it. But yeah, I mean they're both amazing. You know, like we're getting more pages in for 3. Well, we just got all the pages in for 3, and then we're getting pages in for 6 now, just due to how the schedule works out. And they're just killing it. I mean, that's one thing. Everybody on the book, Fred's not kidding. Like everybody's. I was really excited that Fred was the writer on the series. It's a really hard book to write and make good. and tell a
Yeah.
compelling story, and he is just killing it, and it's awesome. And I feel that way about everybody on this team.
So
He was not kidding. We really are throwing Taylor through the paces. He's
no,
doing excellent
I
work.
agree. Just look, I mean, I've become we're probably the only comics podcast that has talked to multiple letterers. I've had Taylor Coles on twice. I've had uh Hassan. I've had
Sounds
why am I it's too early in the morning.
eight Picos too.
Clem Robbins twice. I've had lettering is important.
Yeah,
You know,
And it becomes more so when I mean you have different fonts, different balloons for different characters for augmented reality versus I hate to say
reality.
real reality, but
Meat space.
meat
well, no,
space.
it's
Yes,
true.
augmented.
And how do you do that? I mean, a lesser letterer could really make that look very chaotic, but I think it all reads really naturally and
Oh,
distinctly, and all helps tell the overall story. So yeah, good observation.
Yeah, it's
well,
challenging for everybody
yeah.
because you have a world with multiple layers of bullshit. You know, like people fronting, using their skins to deceive people. And then it's fun then to sort of switch and then show what the real world looks like. And Ennio's done a really good job with that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention another big selling point for the series is the first, you've heard of double size first issues. We have a quadruple size first issue.
Yes.
Our first issue is basically a graphic novel.
I mean, is it really a quadruple size first issue, or is
Yeah,
it?
it's like 80 pages.
I I
80
mean, what you
pages.
sent me was 100 plus.
Well, you've got what you got was maybe it is 100 plus.
It's 108 altogether.
But the Kickstarter has a scene that's not going to
Right,
be
right, right, right. But this
Okay,
is
okay.
it's only 5 pages.
So I got a little
but
bit
he also
more
he's
than
gonna
you
have
get
some of
in
the bonus
chops.
material because he's still gonna have all that tech stuff about REKCAH comics and everything. So it's all together
Right.
and the intro
Yeah.
stuff and all that. Yeah, all the cool. By the way, another person on the team we missed. We got to mention Ryan Hughes,
Yes.
designer
Oh, Ryan
extraordinaire.
Hughes.
Yep.
Did the logo, did all design stuff in there.
Nicest guy.
Yeah,
Did
we're
all
not messing around, man. This isn't just some custom
No,
comics.
I
Like
am
this is gonna be some good stuff. This is a
like
killer team.
I literally most of the time I'm not necessarily going to call out the site that I saw this on first because they've run with enough stories before they had what they had to do that I don't always like to call them out. But I'm bringing this up specifically because most of the time I don't act on anything I see in their morning newsletter until I have verified stuff elsewhere. I wasn't even done reading about this before I was emailing Fred.
Nice. Cool.
hear it.
And amazingly, Fred was emailing back before I was done reading about it and saying, I'll see what I can do. And then like 15 minutes later, oh, that didn't take as long as I thought it would.
We're on.
So it's also clear that you guys as a team are excited about it.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
like that is the next. I mean, like when I'm and first of all, I'm the easiest mark in comics. I like so much more. I like so much more than I don't like. But like my excitement is definitely directly tied to two things. A, who's involved, and B, how excited are they to be involved?
Yeah. 100%.
You know. So when I start seeing a good team that's also like, oh yes, please let me talk about this. Um
Killer combo.
it is. From storytelling side, what I've seen so far is episodic. You brought up Mission Impossible. Part of what went through my head is it feels very leverage or planetary. Um, so with 60 issues, are you telling it primarily episodically? Will it become more what's the word for when it's not episodic? It's through line narrative.
Serialized?
What? Serialized, yes. Will it become
Yeah.
more serialized? Is it going to be one of those things that is mostly episodic, but with a serialized thread that will kind of emerge over time? I mean, obviously, I don't want to spoil anything, but like from a creation standpoint, like how are you looking at the story?
The structure of the series, it's not like it's a big secret or anything. It's been kind of developing over time, and then with the big announcement at Comics Pro, that's when we kind of locked everything in. So it's sort of an interesting structure where we give you basically a standalone graphic novel as the first issue, and then we double back, and then the next arc is origins of everybody, which is sort of what you saw.
Right.
And that's sort of the episodic side of it. But after that, then we settle into a story arc format that's going to be.
But even then though, you do really masterfully, and I don't want to spoil anything specifically, but those origin issues all come in together.
That's true. Yeah.
And you do a really
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to think about what I could say. I'm really bad about spoiling stuff on the podcast. I'll just say this. You do a really masterful job of there's all the different components. You can read any of those origin issues, like that's fine, sure. But then when you get to the end of them, there are details that you brought back that I was surprised that you were going to bring back.
Right. Yeah.
In terms of certain relationships and everything. And then like that helped all lock it in together. So
yeah,
everything matters, and he's really building it up. I mean,
thank you.
So,
yeah. It appears episodic, but is actually sneakily serialized. I think is the best way to put it. Is that everything?
Well, I mean that to me, most people refer to Parker fiction or like Star Trek: Next Generation as episodic, but if you look at them over a long period,
sure,
there are strong character arcs, there are strong thematic arcs, and there is an absolute serialization to it. It doesn't mean that you can't happily, so what it sounds like to me, and like correct me if I'm wrong, is that this might be something that you could pick up any story arc and enjoy it, but if you read the whole thing in order, you will see a grander narrative.
Well, like anything that takes 60 issues or 5 years, it's going to be obviously very much cumulative, right? Like it's going to sneak up on you. The interconnectivity, these days we also have sort of models like Severance and Lost, right, where there's a big like mystery that we're all supposed to be getting to. I think Twin Peaks really kind of
started that,
pioneered that. But we're more of the Deep Space Nine variety, where
I love my Deep Space Nine.
My favorite track, right, which is the one that just went out and ended up towards the end was full on serialized, pretty much.
Right. Well, it's the first Trek that gets referred to as being serialized, which is why I didn't list it. And I'm only a recent Trekker, so that's the other reason that I'm careful, because like until Cantwell started writing Trek, and he's a good friend of mine and a massive Trekker, I had done very little Star Trek, but it's like, oh damn it, my best friend's writing a Star Trek comic, so I need to start learning about Star Trek. And then it became, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I got sucked in during the pandemic. Actually, I did this massive Deep Space Nine rewatch because that was the one show that was on when I came home from work when I was staying in Syracuse, that I actually liked with my rabbit ears, right, in 1990.
Right. Yeah, I've gone in a very uncommon order. I did all of Deep Space Nine, and then I did all of Voyager, and I'm now starting. I'm like halfway through the second season of Next Generation.
Well, and the new stuff, with a couple exceptions, has all been pretty spectacular too.
Like,
I can't recommend Prodigy enough. Like everyone I meet.
Well, and I do Lower Decks. I adore Lower Decks.
Lower Decks is awesome, but is
Keating's giving us that face again. He's like, this is. I thought we were here to talk about.
Yeah, no, I love it.
We've gone into his own.
This is how I warned you, Joe. I
love it.
Do you go by Joe or Joseph? You got Joseph.
Those are the two options. Two options.
Okay, Joey.
Not Joey.
That is not an option. The podcast is over.
I just had to. I had to. Just once. I won't do it again. I'm sorry.
We know
This
a
is
lot
how
of
my
hackers,
autistic
buddy. Okay, listen. Like,
this, this is how my autistic brain works. I go
you're
off
good, buddy. You're good.
this podcast goes on tangents. It's just what we do.
Oh, I love it. I love it. No, I was just thinking about it. Like, I just to jump in with the Trek stuff. Like, I was thinking about what you guys were saying. I started with Next Generation just due to the age stuff, and this was at the era that Fred was referring to, where we couldn't just stream,
Right.
the original, and so the original would show up like late night on cable,
Right.
occasionally. So you'd interstitch in. But I was always a really big fan of that pilot they did with the first captain they had pre-Kirk.
Oh,
The guy who
the
showed up later.
Riker or
Pike,
all the wrong.
Christopher
Pike,
Pike. I
Captain
forget.
Pike. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was awesome. And Spock acted differently. So anyway, but that's kind
Well,
of
and they
my.
had a woman as their number two, which is why they essentially, the way I understand it, is the studio told them they either had to get rid of Spock or get rid of the woman. They couldn't handle both the pointy ears and the woman. They were certain that audiences would not accept them both, so they had to choose.
I thought it was all due to Lucille Ball. That's the story I understand. That she had
Lucy was behind him.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That she was like the reason that even happened. Like they didn't want
Yeah,
to
no,
pick
no,
up the
no.
pilot, and then she had to
But the
deal with
reason
Paramount or whatever.
NBC didn't actually go from the pilot and they had to do a new pilot. I just watched there's
I
a
know.
documentary series on 50 years of Star Trek.
Very cool. I love it. That's awesome.
And I think they shot Mission Impossible in the same studio lot. Like I don't think Lucy was directly involved in Mission. Maybe she was the producer. Maybe Desi Lu was the producer of Mission Impossible. Anyway,
I don't think it was. Part of
the
the reason they got into Star Trek is that she didn't actually own any of the shows. She was just the lot for all of them. And she knew that the real money was in actually having the rights.
Right.
Not but yeah, that's why she shelled out for more than half of two Star Trek pilots. Because the first one got turned down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's The Center Chair is the name of the series. It was pretty cool.
I think Paramount Plus is the only like studio I actually do this subscription to.
Yeah.
Because of Star Trek and because I'm partly to be inspired for the series, I am making my way through all 7 years of Mission Impossible.
Well, and
shockingly well, as I again tell everybody.
I'm gonna have to go watch some of that. I mean, I do mostly comic book reading, so I don't get to watching as fast.
It's funny. It's funny to hear you say that, Fred, because my Paramount Plus research for this book has been Gunsmoke.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, sort of that sort of.
We talk about long form. It wasn't Gunsmoke on the air like before TV was in.
There's so much Gunsmoke. They don't have it all.
Radio show first.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. And there's so much of the TV show though. It starts like at season 7 on Paramount Plus, and then goes to like I don't know if those tapes don't exist or whatever, but there's so much of it that you don't notice because there's still 26 seasons or whatever. It's insane.
Paramount's also awesome because they've put the entire catalog on there. So like I watched doing a Tarzan stuff for Dynamite, and so they have like the 1920s silent, like they have every Tarzan movie, like starting from like 1920. Like
that's awesome. Very cool.
All the silent movies are on there. So anyway, this has devolved into a.
I know. I feel like we should. And our promo code for Paramount Plus is the future is.
That's right.
20% off.
Well, before we leave Paramount Plus, I will say that they also just added a lot of MTV Unplugged and VH1 storytellers. That's what I've been going nuts with this week.
That's awesome. That's good news.
I was watching Bowie storytellers yesterday.
Oh wow. Very cool.
I like the Michelle Yeoh Star Trek movie, which everyone seemed to hate for some reason.
I did enjoy that.
I thought it was hilarious. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm a big Michelle Yeoh stan.
So yeah,
for
her. Go get Paramount Plus. And when they make the when they're starting to talk about TV rights for this series, like play this episode to the guys at Paramount and say we've already started to.
That's right.
That is what I really enjoy about working with REKCAH, though. REKCAH's whole a lot of companies come in and they want to do a big transmedia thing, and they want to say we're going to do a show, we're going to do this. Da, da, da. Our directive, and I think Fred's received the same directive from the guys who run REKCAH, is tell a good story. Like I have 2 directives. Like the comics have to be great, and the second directive is the reader is the hero of the story. And it's like the fact that that's the ethos that come down from
I
on
love
high.
it.
I mean, to me,
Love it.
it's what fired me up to come on board. You know?
Well, and Fred, you're doing stuff at Mad Cave too, and that's what I've liked about them is that they're make the best comics you can.
Yes.
You know, we're not going to turn down people who call us about whether or not they want to do, but we're not going to be aftershock, and it's going to turn out that like half of our money was spent on trying to get people to buy our IP. Nope, we're making
Right.
good comics. We're building a company around making good comics. If
Yeah, they've got a great team over there
if
too.
other people want stuff, great. If they don't, we made good comics. By the way, the new Murder Kingdom was outstanding. It made my I had to go top 9 rather than top 3 this week, in part because of Murder Kingdom and because there were, and I apologize, Murder Kingdom wasn't quite one of these 6. There were 6 books that I wanted in my number 1 spot.
Wow, that is a
That's
good.
that's how crazy good
This
comics were
is
last week. There were
4 that just
6
came out,
books.
right?
What? Yeah, it was 4 that just came out.
Cool. That has a really good kill in it.
It does.
My
It
favorite one still
does.
is in 3, but 4 is pretty kind of good too.
Yeah. In the strange land of Florida.
That's right. That's fine.
Joe, are you reading Murder Kingdom, or because it's at a different
I'm
time where
so
you don't
behind
have to?
on comics that aren't ones that I am working on. But I look for it. I like Fred's
I'm
work. I look forward to
I'm in
reading
the
it.
same boat as Joe.
It's totally
Yeah.
worth it. Totally
Yeah.
worth it. He's digging deep into the grim nature of Grimm's fairy tales.
Cool.
Uh,
Got a serial killer in Disney World, Joe. Who's
Oh, right on.
no,
All right.
not Disney World.
Disney World.
I thought it was Fantasyland.
Storybook Kingdom is the name.
Storybook Kingdom, right? Because aren't there even talks about like the real
Right.
Disney World coming to like,
Yes.
yeah.
Legally allowed to refer to Sleeping Beauty as Sleeping Beauty. She's Briar Rose in the original fairy tale, in one of the original fairy tales. Yeah, that's it. That's and Chris Ponda's another great artist. We should probably get him for do something in the future.
Well, I mean, you need 60 different covers, Joe.
That's
So,
true.
so Chris Ponda was just nominated for one of them. Um,
Joe's only cast half those covers, so
oh wow, you've cast half of them already. That's
I've got
pretty
a pretty solid year. Let me put it that way.
okay.
he's been burning up the email routes, sending the
I was
email.
about to say, Fred has enough single issue like information to give to cover artists for half of
We've
the
got a
books.
plan.
They put a gun to my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that was
They
my
made sure that we got as much as possible.
well, and that was my next question is like what level of planning? I mean, I got to be careful on this because it's another one of those writers that I used to love and I still love his work, but I won't say his name on the air. But the last exactly 60 issue series I read, I know that the writer knew the end from the beginning.
Okay.
Um, and he knew there was going to be 60 issues by like 30 or so. But like from the letters pages from stuff he did in his newsletter, it was clear that he was kind of the artist on this was Derek Robertson, if people are trying to figure out what I'm talking about. Um,
Okay. I got a pretty good idea.
yeah,
For Derek.
yeah. Derek's a great guy. I like Derek. And I can say Garth Ennis, so it's not that one.
Right. Well, I mean, yes, it's another science fiction series you're referring to.
Right.
So we had a big at the beginning of the year. We had a big sort of editorial meet and where we kind of hashed out the broad story. And so we're pretty well, like, let me just put it this way. This morning I wrote out it's February, or no, sorry, it's now March 2025. And I just, I turned in the script for 14
Okay.
for one artist, and I spent the morning before I hopped onto this podcast plotting out 10 and 11 for a different artist. So
Okay, so we're gonna have
we're
different
chugging along quite nicely. The
interior
first issue isn't even
artists.
out for another 3 months.
Well, does that mean we'll have different interior artists as well?
There's gonna be 2 main interior artists.
Okay.
You'll see. So Enio's doing the bulk of the series, but he has a colleague, Mario, who's doing a bunch of other issues and sort of locked as the main second 1A and 1B artist, essentially. And what this really reminds me of, this takes me back, is when I was one of the web heads on Amazing Spider-Man, when Spider-Man had a
Okay.
weekly book. And so we were all
Right.
doing various, it's just, you just can't do something like this without multiple artists and feeding
Right.
artists multiple times, because otherwise you just get screwed with the schedule. So
And
and we also have folks coming in and pinch hitting for special one shots. And I turned in the
that moves to the Joe question, though obviously it's partially a Fred question too. I've talked to both Tom King about his Batman run and Shelley Bond about any number of things about like how do you as an editor, and I know Tom wasn't the editor, but he takes his artists very seriously. Like how do you plan for, oh, this is going to take this guy this much time, but we need it to come out during this time, so we need to plan to have somebody else work in here. Like talk to me about
Yeah.
scheduling the workload. I
Well,
guess is
yeah, I mean, to Fred's point, that's why we have it with a couple of different artists. We're also we have the luxury of working ahead of time. It's not just going to be, like with the let's start with the origin issues. So obviously Inio draws all the first issue, and then the origin issues, it's different characters and locations, and I'll just say it, Inio draws the last 2 issues, right? And so it all comes together. Like we're being methodical. We're not just like, I gotta get. And I've worked at
right.
other places, on the writing end where the editor's is like, I just need to fill in a bunch of pages, so we're just gonna get 12 pages by this guy, 3 pages by this guy, da 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 da. We're working ahead so it makes storytelling sense. We're trying to tell a great story first and foremost. So every decision that's being made about who's drawing what, there was a lot of back and forth. Fred can attest to about like, okay, is Inio going to draw this next arc, or is Mario going to draw the next arc? And it's like we plotted out the arcs, and then it was a decision that went back and forth, but then was like, okay, well, this is a really great Inio arc, and this is a great Mario arc with the both of them. And then when we do these one shots but they're not exactly one shots. Again, everything builds
Right.
towards the larger end. It's who's the best guy for this. So like we have a one shot coming out.
Well, and
Oh, what
I'm
can I say about it? That features monstrous sort of characters.
right.
I was like, I want a guy who's great for that. I found that I'm not going to say it just yet because I think we want to save that announcement for a little down the line. But
Absolutely.
he's a killer guy. He's worked on Marvel and DC stuff, and I was like, that's the guy you want for that type of book. I'm
Right.
not just trying to fill in holes here with whoever's available.
Well, and also
Even with the covers, like the covers, the guys I selected, it's all really like Jay Lee is fantastic, but and I knew he would give us a great. Here are the characters. You've never seen these characters before, but
right.
here's your first look at the characters. That's Jay Lee. And then I wanted a guy who comics look like they're from the future. That's Mike Huddleston. That's how I was
Right.
like, that he'll be on issue 2. I needed someone who could who would be really great at sort of making outer space look cool and kinetic. And I was like, no one's better than Jimafu with that kind of thing, right?
Right.
And so on and so on and so on. Like for instance, with issue 3, I got Rob Guillory because I knew he could convey this sort of cartoonish world juxtaposed with this sort of grimmer world. Like he would kill it at that. He killed it at that. Like we're not just filling in slots here. Every decision I make editorially, I say this for Fred as a writer, what's the best story we can tell here?
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's the directive from REKCAH from the guys who actually own REKCAH is tell a great story. I cannot emphasize enough. So that's what every decision I go into gets into. So yeah.
Yeah. They're pretty great. Yeah, REKCAH,
Yeah.
spell it backwards, kids.
Yeah.
It's the comics arm of Black Hills Information Security.
Information security. Yep.
Is the full name of the
Yep.
company, and they're great. And they have an
Yep.
annual hacking convention that Joe and I attended in October in Deadwood, South Dakota. So they've got this Wild West. It's Wild West Hackin' Fest is the name of the con, and that was great fun.
Yeah.
and great to get to know them and the cybersecurity community in general. And so each issue, so if you're if you're one of the many wonderful comics fans out there, you can just appreciate it as an exciting, awesome, rich science fiction, action adventure, heist comic. But also, I think every issue is going to have information and sort of what are called capture the flag challenges for hackers. So that's another sort of aspect of what REKCAH is trying to do. Is we're both serving the larger comics community, but then we're also serving specifically the information security community, and that's been very exciting.
Just to edify a little bit, so to capture the flag challenge, there's a task to do. You got to decode this. You got to figure this out. You got to figure out the cybersecurity
URL
puzzle,
or
right?
whatever.
And then you get a essentially a passphrase, and then you can input that, and then there's actually a leaderboard. So, and the challenges will remain like in print, I guess. I don't know what
Yeah.
you say, but so that there's leaderboard that'll be perpetual through the series, and so eventually when the series is done and fully collected, you could do them all or whatever. But
And a bunch of them are like embedded in the story, right, Joe?
correct,
Right.
yeah, yep,
I found myself looking for them.
yeah,
It was fun.
awesome. That's the goal.
So, I mean, that was one of the things that immediately attracted me was like, we, and like I get easily distracted and I have a day job. I work special ed. Thank you, Kazimir Pulaski, for being a great Polish contributor to Revolutionary War. That's why I'm here right now with you guys rather than at school. We have the day off.
Is it
Um, what?
his birthday?
I, I don't even know if it's his birthday. It's Kazimir Pulaski Day, and like
And it's
about
Chicago.
half of the schools in Chicagoland get it off, and about half of them don't. My wife is at work today. I am not. It's one of the first days that'll get axed if we have snow days that we need to make up. But yeah, you know. But he was the founder of the American Cavalry. You know,
Sure. We have a bridge named after him here.
I didn't even realize that.
New York City. So it's how you get to it's how you get to LaGuardia and JFK. So
It's Pulaski Bridge. Cool.
Bridge in Queens.
Um,
Ride your bike over it now. They have a lovely bike.
Nice. So, but back to the cybersecurity aspect. Um, what level, like, I read about, and I have to ask, was it the basement at Anyone? Because the Anyone basement used to be really cool, but I know they moved. That you
It was the basement in it. Yeah.
it was the basement at Anyone. That's a great place to meet to brainstorm.
That was
So
Joe missed out on the Adam Freeman, our colleague at REKCAH, wanted to do like a WeWork for the day, but they were like, but he's like, I have an office in the basement of a comic store. They're like, let's do that. Like that's what Black Hills wanted to do. They wanted to get real,
okay. I mean, Anyone is a great shop.
Nice basement.
So,
like it wasn't like
yeah.
rats or dripping water or anything.
No. I mean, God, it would have been 2 years ago now. I took the 22 panels ill-advised spring break comic book tour where I like drove almost 2,000 miles and hit like 15 different comic shops over the
That's
span
awesome.
of 10 days I mean, this is what a comic geek does when he's a teacher and his wife's a teacher, and that year their spring breaks are different weeks. I got in a car and I went through Columbus and down to Charlotte and up through
Nice.
DC and Annapolis and
You hit a bunch of great shops.
Right.
That's awesome. That's a good route.
And did like a Pennsylvania loop.
Yeah, my wife teaches like 3 different colleges, and their spring breaks are never on the same week, so we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. But that's where I didn't meet. It's Demetrios that owns it. I didn't wind up meeting Demetrios, but the guy that I did meet that is one of his regulars was so gracious and
yeah, they're great. They moved down the block.
Down the block. Yeah.
Across the street. more they were, but
So
they're not.
anybody in Brooklyn needs to go to, well, really needs to go to three comic shops, but I can't speak to the third because I just haven't ever been in Brooklyn except on days that they've been closed. Haven't gotten to Desert Island yet. Um,
Desert Island's fun. That's they're in
but
Williamsburg.
but
And
you must go to anyone, and you must go to Bulletproof.
yes,
Just saying.
Hank at Bulletproof.
Hank is amazing. And for that matter, I'm going to toss out right now, Fred, you should like team up with Spencer Ackerman for a signing at some point with this book and Iron Man.
Oh, is he
And like
local? That's cool.
he's in Brooklyn. He's been shopping at Bulletproof since he was a kid. And
Nice.
like, yes, he's writing Iron Man right now, but his Pulitzer Prize is for covering.
It's not for comic book writing.
No, he was on the team that went through the Snowden papers. He's very much a national security reporter and
Yes, that I knew. That I knew.
very much on the data side of that more than so like I can't wait to hear his take on this book because this is so up his alley it's not even funny. Um
Yeah,
but I'm noticing
a lot of military, ex-military, and cybersecurity.
yeah, I can only imagine. So like can you tell me some about what they brought to the table? I mean, other than obviously the money. The money's a good thing to bring to the table. I'm all for bringing the money to the table. I'm assuming that you guys are getting paid reasonably well to commit at this. So, like, I thank them immensely just for that part. But what?
As do we.
I figured. um, like uh, the the challenges I mentioned this to some to Joe off air. I'm sitting there going, A, they're really cool, but B, you know, if I'm a cybersecurity firm and I'm looking for good talent, what better way than to create challenges that people can get to?
Yeah.
So like I'm assuming that they're also actually into comics and they've
Oh
probably
yeah. So
also realized that comics and the type of brain that goes into, I mean, because comics are the only medium that requires you to use both sides of your brain. Um,
yeah.
you need to look at things from a really different way to be a creative hacker rather than just somebody who goes through the motions that have already been done by other people, which is great for breaking things that have already been broken and not so good for breaking new things. Um, Joe, you were about to say something. I'll stop.
Yeah, well, you're asking, so I'm gonna go back a long ways, and then I think I'll
That's
hand it
fine.
off to Fred. So here's
Okay.
you're asking what does REKCAH bring? Many years ago, in a past life, I worked at a publisher doing a lot of different things. It was back then there was like five of us in the well, maybe a little more than that, maybe like eight of us in the office, and I did everything from marketing and sales and dealing with retailers. One of those retailers, actually, I should say two of those retailers were a guy named Aaron Holland and a guy named Jason Blanchard. And they ran a comic shop in Florida. The name of the store was A Comic Shop. And
Nice.
that store created the modern comic shop. They were doing everything everyone said was ridiculous that everyone's doing now. They created
You
a
mean,
community
but
first comic book store. They made you the hero of coming to the store. It wasn't about, like Jason likes to put it, it's not about like, here I am. It's like, here, there you are. Like that was the
right.
whole thing of that store. And they eventually, like, they had a bar like connected to it. And it was, I mean, they made books, period. I can say that.
Right.
They made right, they were a tastemaker. But more importantly, they were a community builder. And Jason really loves comics. So does Aaron. But Aaron's not involved in this. Aaron's a great guy too, though. But anyway, so Jason, so I have known Jason. We stayed in touch. When we lost touch, kind of went in out of touch. We shared going to a convention together and that kind of thing. And he's just a really great guy. And then we got, my life went one way and his life went another. He worked at Diamond for a while. He was like the guy behind Free Comic Book Day for a long time. He brought in LeVar Burton and Thomas Jane and a third person. I am blanking. Oh, Stan Lee into Free Comic Book Day and promoting Free Comic Book Day.
Blanking on Stanley.
I knew it was a big
Fred
name.
Fred knows about Stanley. I mean, he wrote more about Kirby, right? But
Sure. But but anyway, so and then he worked at DC for a minute, and then he worked at in cybersecurity, and he and I have been talking. We got back in touch in 2020, like just a lot of people did because we're hanging out at home and doing different things. And yeah, he always loved comics. Comics was always his first. Um, he did a presentation at Comics Pro, which I hope I have no intention of doing this. So if it happens, it wasn't me. I hope it gets leaked out sometime because it was so great. It was
I
awesome.
I
All
I
about,
did ask Fred if I could manage to see it for this, so
yeah. Well, I hope someday it gets out there. But anyway,
because that presentation is specifically what was being written about that made me go, oh, I need to.
yeah.
Um,
Jason's not a, I mean, Jason's a guy who loves comics and he loves
yeah.
storytelling and he really to the
Well,
point about
then
a
tell
comic
him that
shop.
I'm the podcast that would love to talk to him. Just, I mean, put
I
it
will
out
let him
there.
know as soon as I'm done here. I will
Yeah.
seriously. But anyway, in bringing people together. And he really loves the cybersecurity community. And a lot of the cybersecurity community, I'll just say it, are either lapsed comic book readers or they maybe they read a couple things here and there. Like we polled them. We had the data on it. Like
Yeah.
they want to love comics. And so he's like, well, much like he did with the comic shop, he wants to bring in those people to comics and comics to them. And I wasn't sure about why, but then like Fred mentioned before, they invited us out to their conference and it was an amazing community of people. And it was they celebrated that community more so than any other aspect. Like there was an award show at the end, and they weren't giving awards to each other; they were giving awards to people who showed up to the convention. And one of my favorite
Right.
moments, Jason's like, have you seen this?" And it was a bear versus bear shirt, and I was like, "I've never seen this in my life." He's like, "Dude, someone made this shirt." So I'm a Deadhead. I love Grateful Dead, and when I can tell you, based on that, when people start bootlegging your stuff, you've made
Yeah.
it. And the fact that they
This is why
bootleg,
I love the fact that I'm married to a printmaker. I
there you
have
go.
so many cool comic book shirts that nobody has because
Right on,
they're
man.
not married
But
to a
why?
printmaker.
But beyond being married to a printmaker, why? Because you love it. And,
Exactly.
and and to see that rabid love of this comic this person read, which I talked for a little bit. She'd not had read a bunch of other comics.
Right.
And so it's like, well, let's bridge that together. Like I think that's one thing. If I could put a magic wand and improve anything in the comics is that enthusiasm. I want more of that back. And I can attest that to Jason and all those guys. So anyway, my point is, so that's what they're bringing. Like money's great, whatever, but like that directive to make people excited about comics. That's why again,
Ah,
every 60 issues, 5 years, every cover is awesome, right? As opposed to
that's
let's gouge
just
you for as many covers as number one, is because every month we want you to go in and be stoked about picking this up.
right.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so that was that. I think that's what REKCAH
And I
is bringing
hope
here.
that the question didn't come off as what are they? I
No, no, of
assume
course
that
not.
they
Of
were
course not. Not at all. No, 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 not at all. Not at all.
I
No, it's a
just
great question. It really is a great question because look, man, you read a lot of comics, you know comics. You've heard this kind of thing before, like, oh, there's big companies coming in, they're going to do this with comics, and all I can say is I've known Jason for a really long time. I've gotten to know the owner, John Strand, uh, more so, and these guys are excited to do this. I mean, Fred, we had that meeting with John at well, was Hackfest. I think referenced Concrete and Weapon X. Like this guy knows his stuff. Barry Windsor
just
Smith, Weapon X, to be very clear. So anyway, these
yeah.
guys know their stuff.
We just did 3 weeks of the regular episode going through a concrete read.
Right on. Got number one sitting right here, I think.
It was
It's my
really
80s
good.
side. Yeah.
I had somehow managed to not, and this is more example of just like how many good comics there are. Concrete is amazing, and
Yeah.
it's been going for most of my time in comics, and I didn't manage to start reading it until about a month ago. I've
Yeah.
read it all now,
Yeah.
but like it just managed to fly under my radar.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Fred, I don't know.
Um,
So
yeah,
that was
Fred.
my end. Was Jason Blanchard being stoked about comics bringing me in?
Yeah,
From your end, what's your perspective?
you said it well. I don't have a whole lot to add. I mean, what I like, as you know, Ted, I do a lot of nonfiction comics along with
Hmm.
stuff, and so they're a great resource for like uh it's a lot of like yes and a lot of like improving because like we were saying, hacking is a fundamentally creative act. You're basically retrofitting something for what it's not designed to, and you're trying to figure out what you can make it do that it wasn't designed to do, and a lot of times that involves um malfeasance and crime and stuff. But obviously because they're
It
the
can, but doesn't have to.
yeah, and obviously Black Hills represents the other side of that, which is
Right.
which how do we outwit? It's a constant spy versus spy of how do we outwit the people trying to constantly outwit us. So
Right.
we're talking about storylines and representing that visually. I'm always like, well, what about this? And I'm always like, give me an example of something where this would be really helpful, or what kind of exploit or vulnerability can works for this story. So it's always, as we keep saying, a story first approach, but we want the tech and the what people are doing hacking wise to also be accurate's the wrong word because we're projecting the technology many decades in
Right.
the future, so it's not necessarily accurate, but it's the same in the same vein of certain things.
Well, I mean, this is where I'll say I'm okay with accurate because, like, good, when you're talking near future sci-fi, um, it's built on extrapolating things in ways. I mean, I think of Neil Stephenson immediately. Cryptonomicon came out in what, 2000, and like it it both accurately predicted the crypto age and the problem it solves, which is how do criminals clean their money.
Right.
um if you look at some of his REMD or um Fall or Dodge in Hell, he's taking both like massive online games and then like augmented reality and whatnot and taking it to the nth degree. Where will this wind up taking us? Um, and those we haven't seen quite come true yet, but like every year older they get, they feel more prescient, not less. I mean, going back to the wonderfully drawn Derek Robertson series, I used to reread that every election cycle because every election cycle it became more true.
Well, and just to take a concrete example from the future is, the series opens with this set piece, this action set piece in an underwater server farm, which is something that Microsoft has been trying to do off the coast of Scotland for some time now.
Yep.
Adam, our colleague, just randomly sent me this uh, article that Microsoft had done, and I was like, oh, I'm stealing that. that would make a cool setting for an action sequence, and it did.
Well, and like one of the it's issue 2, isn't it? Deals with a carceral industrial complex
Yes,
thing, which is like it's a thing that most people like don't even realize exists. They don't realize what big money prisons are.
sure.
How much decision making in governments, in tech firms, in whatnot are made by how big money prisons are. Um, So, of course, they don't think of how could you use augmented reality to make more money for prisons. I mean, it requires that mind that looks over here and combines it with the stuff over there and the stuff over there and like goes, okay, what's the through line? What ties these together? How will these things wind up merging and what new thing will they create? Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I mean, what I like to, as a fiction writer, what I like to tell the Black Hills people when we meet is that, the difference between me and them is they are problem solvers. I am a fiction writer. I'm a problem creator.
right.
you know,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
you know, uh, and so it's fun to have those sort of two worlds meet. because
Well,
I'm always thinking of like, how is this technology going to be abused? And
yeah.
so, you know,
Well,
that
there is a
second,
hacker edict. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm done. I'm just saying this that second issue is a prime example of me
Yeah.
being what horrible uses because
Yeah.
augmented
Yeah.
reality
Well,
be put towards.
I was thinking there's that hacker edict that like you break things to make them stronger, and I kind of feel like we're doing that,
Yeah.
not in the storytelling certainly, but also even like the way and a huge amount of credit, in fact, most of the credit to like Adam Freeman, who's doing the publishing end of this, like looking at the system of how comics are sold. I don't know that there's anybody who understands the direct market better than Adam at this point, and is like, what's working, what's not, what could we do differently, how can we approach this in such a way that it will be stronger for us, really bucking whatever trends. So anyway,
Though just because of some of the things happening in the nation right now, I want to specify that when hackers say that, that they mean we break things in a controlled way to figure out how they are breakable, not we break them because we assume that we will rebuild them better.
well, there's a little bit of that actually. I
I
mean, I
mean,
don't want to be like,
there
well,
is,
actually, but
but you
yeah,
have to. But what I mean is, they're paying attention to how they're breaking it. They're
sure.
paying attention to its weaknesses. They're not going willy-nilly and just
Mm,
let's break it.
yeah,
It's like,
sure.
okay, what are the vulnerability? It's a
Mm,
more precision kind of breaking, and it's not designed to, particularly when you're talking a white hat hacker rather than a black hat
uh,
hacker. It's not designed to destroy. It's designed to find the weaknesses and strengthen so that whatever purpose it's supposed to be serving is actually served rather than, oh, I'm just going to kill the purpose.
sure.
Yep.
Um, and like I only feel the need to bring that up because last night was the first 22 panels, uh, joy, resistance, hope, and survival book club and support group that we have as some of us are just exhausted by the world right now.
The world can
um
be exhausting.
yeah. So what what have you guys been learning and like how fun is that?
I mean, most of it's in the series, so I
Well,
don't
I figured. I
can't
figured.
give anything away. Um, but yeah, it it is interesting. I think what I find most interesting is how fragile the whole. I mean, I sort of knew it conceptually, but it is interesting how fragile our infrastructure is, our digital infrastructure is, and I think this is part and parcel. How much of it is just it's archaeology, right? It's layers of systems on top of other systems,
Right.
and how easy it is to kind of pull a thread and have that, to mix as many metaphors into one answer as possible and have the
Yeah.
whole house of cards come crashing down. Um, that's sort of broadly what I find most fascinating. And I mean, I guess I'm not someone who's frightened by such things. I find it kind of more amusing. Just my
No, I get that.
favorite thing is to laugh. So it's sort of fascinating to me, um, that people, you know, I'm fascinated that we live in a world that's full of conspiracy theories and pseudoscience, and yet at the same time, the world is somehow much crazier. Even the conspiracy theorists,
Right.
like the conspiracy theorists, are kind of like, I did a whole comic series about this called Archer and Armstrong. It's amazing how conspiracy theorists just have this, in their own insane way, are trying to make the world more comprehensible to themselves.
But I mean, at least for me, they're often like the laziest storytellers.
Well,
It's like think for a couple of minutes and this conspiracy starts to fall apart. Let's
yeah,
do a
well,
much
like
better conspiracy, man.
it's like any mythology, right? It's like, you know, why does it rain? You know, like,
Right.
and people just make up reasons for that, which rarely have anything to do, because the real reasons are. I guess I'm fascinated by it because I find the actual reasons much more interesting
I do too. And I
the
get that.
than the mythology. But
Yeah.
people, you know, because it's not just I want to know how things work; it's I want to know how things work for me. You know, like how do I fit in? You know, that's really
Hmm.
kind of fundamentally the problem. Is it becomes all kind of narcissistic. It's
Right.
I want to be the enlightened one. I want to be the one with the secrets. People aren't telling me things, so I'm just going to make up my own reasons. And in knowing it, I will somehow be liberated when they never
Okay.
did.
Joe, I'm going to turn your question just a little bit. It's a little
Sure.
bit about what you've learned, but you've also known these guys since they were working in comics. So like what's it been like watching them shift from comic shops to cybersecurity? Um, did it make sense, or did you suddenly go, "Wait a minute, you do that too?" Or like, yeah, what was the
It was completely natural. Like I was saying before, like what Jason did at a comic shop was build a community.
right?
What I saw at Wild was Hack and Fest, and they have a really active Discord. Actually, they have specifically have Discord for REKCAH. So check that out. Join in. I'm
I can
posting
see
cool
that.
art and stuff all the time. I have my own editor's note channel, but there's a whole bunch of other channels of really cool stuff. Anyway, uh, so it was natural. It was a natural extension of that. But I do want to answer the question because I was thinking from a sort of a different
That too.
angle. Like,
Yeah.
I get the feeling of, oh man, the world's crazy and everything's awful and this and that person's doing this and whatever. I'm very excited and hopeful for the future. In a big part because, like, if you want to look at just specifically from the cybersecurity angle, we went to this conference. Everyone, I took one day. They had some like sort of sponsor vendor tables. I went to every single one and just asked, like, tell me about yourself. Like, what do you do? And sometimes it was a salesperson, sometimes it was a tech person, and they all had the coolest story, and they were all really excited for the thing that they were contributing to this larger whole. And yeah, you know what, man? There's a lot of big infrastructure issues. Fred maybe even be underplaying it, like,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of really good people who are working really hard to help build a better future. I will say though, not to discount. Well, you're talking about earlier about fiction, nonfiction, and like I think really good fiction, just quality wise, can really have a big influence on the general consciousness. Like
I
one thing
agree.
that's been on my heart a lot that I've been putting into to every project that I have work on, and not even just the comic stuff, but just like my own life is a mentor of mine said something to me several years ago now, almost like 6 years ago. That it's really stuck with me. He said that like the the fiction of the early 21st century is all about how the world's going to drown us, right? I'm not going to name them, but you can name the book, the
Oh yeah.
comic, the TV show. That's all about that. We really need work about how we're going to swim.
Yeah.
And I really feel like we're doing that with this book, because like
No,
there's
I
a
mean
lot of
that's
problems. And the one thing that I really am extremely impressed with Fred is that there's a really easy way to screw up this book. There's a really easy way to screw up this book and just fulfill and make it a tie-in to this company. And we'll have our laundry list of things that hit on that, hit on that, hit on that. But the narrative is so compelling and it gets pretty dire at certain points, but there is this larger aim towards the good, right? And the larger aim towards, okay, so the world is like this and there's X and Y and Z problems. What are you going to do? And I think like the hacking challenges for me speaking to that more so than like, let's advertise cybersecurity. It's like, no, you can do something about it. You're confronted with this thing. Like what the really compelling thing about Jason's presentation. Yes, he talked about the future is, but he also talked about, hey, comic shops, here are the 10 things, or maybe more like 15
I
things that
saw that list.
you could be doing. And it was like, now you're empowered to do those things. Because now you know that there's these problems here, and now you can confront them.
Yeah,
Well,
just to
and
build
that's
real quick on that, Joe,
Yeah.
is the other thing. I mean, I keep invoking Mission Impossible. I mean, the first thing I
Yeah.
thought of was Black Mirror.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Except the difference is Black Mirror is essentially a bunch of horror stories. We're telling heroic stories, so we confront people with the Black Mirror problem, but then our characters solve the problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
right,
Like, as opposed to being
right.
destroyed by it.
And I want to clarify, if only to remind myself, I am hopeful about the future. I'm
Yeah.
terrified about like the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes getting to that future has really big road bumps. But that's also why I do this podcast, why I do love comics so much is storytelling is one of the places, I mean, as you were just talking about, where you try to find the problems.
Right.
You try to start, you know, and I think comics are uniquely qualified for doing that well
Hmm.
and conveying it well. I mean, I've said
Yeah.
this to Fred multiple times. I think comics are the perfect medium. There's no story, there's no learning that you can't do as well or better in comics than any other
100%.
medium. It doesn't mean that there aren't great films. It doesn't mean that there aren't
Yeah.
great prose, but you show me a piece of great prose and somebody can make an equally great comic out of it. You show me a great film and somebody can make an equally great comic out of it. I actually just read a there's a adaptation of uh, Raymond Chandler's um, da, 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 something about trouble short story coming
Trouble is my
out. And
business.
Trouble is My Business coming out that I just read advanced copy of yesterday, and it talked about like why do you have an adaptation? Well, because it adds something to it. It
Right.
always adds something to it. You may or may not like it, but it always adds something to it. Why did we do this one? Because we think it adds a lot, and I thought it added a lot too. It also was what put letterers in my mind because apparently they put their letterer through the ringer too by making him come up with a different font for each character.
Oh, wow.
Who's putting that out, Ted?
It's a Pantheon book.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it was really, really quite fantastic. Um, Arvin, Ethan, David, and um, of course, it's not telling me on this page. Uh, Ilya, is it Kazakis? He did
Sounds familiar.
he did there was I think Catfight was the name of a heist book at Oni or
Uh,
Boom earlier this year, or maybe IDW. It was really good. That he did yeah, Ilya, what was the name? Just went past it again. Of course, the NetGalley app isn't as friendly for moving comics around as one would like. Yeah, Ilya Kyriazis. Um, and it doesn't have the cat fight listed there, but he did Chronophage with Tim Seeley at Humanoids. Um, but yeah, it's a cool book and completely off topic there. Where it was going overall was again, I mean, comics are one of the things that give me hope.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, getting to see the cool things that the world is doing gives me hope too. But like comics is one of the things that gives me hope that there are enough people that like will identify the good and bad ways to use those things. Um, and I totally, Joe, I think you phrased it well that like the way Fred took this and made it into a hero story rather than a horror story, um, is what's gonna make it that much better. You know, it's not about the terrible things you can do with technology. That's an aspect of it, but it's also about how smart people can use similar things and similar skills to overcome the horrible things, to circumvent, to make a better world. Um, you know, no technology is automatically good or bad is something that I've already always believed. Um, I have fights with coworkers when I won't like automatically say that social media is just bad for all teenagers. I'm like, no, that's not actually how it works. There are different social medias. There are different ways to use social media. If anything, I think our kids know how to use social media better than we do mostly. Because, like, they figured it out and we just looked at it after the time and projected onto them. Oh, it fucked us up because we didn't know how to use it. So it must really fuck them up. But in reality, because like they went in without expectations, they went, oh, I don't like this, so I'm not going to do it. I do like this, so I'm going to do it. I'm not saying that there's never good um, or never bad, but it's not as automatic as gets portrayed. Um, so that to me is like again one of the cool things that I'm seeing even in just the three issues that I've gotten to read is like yeah, we get to see some of the horrible ways that some of this stuff could get rolled out. Like, but we also get to see some of the really cool things that could be done with it. And like that takes an imagination and a vision that I expect out of Fred, but it's still cool to see. um
Appreciate it, good sir.
yeah. Anything else that you guys want to say about this book or any other things you have in the pipeline that you want to plug? Hi, Kitty.
Well, with the book itself, I mean, look, starting in May, it's going to be first issue,
5 years of wonderful.
5 years of comics. First
Yeah.
issue, 100 pages, 1337. Every other issue um, is going to be about 24 pages of comics, but 32 plus cover, $4.04, 60 issues. So
That's the question that I forgot to ask. How were those numbers chosen? I'm certain that those numbers were chosen for
on
specific
purpose, I,
reasons.
I will say it's a specific reason. Let's do a quick Google search. I want you
Okay.
to find the answer for yourself. But it's
Okay.
all methodical and it's all on purpose. It all adds to a larger whole. So
Okay.
yeah.
What Joe said. Pick up Murder Kingdom in stores now. Mad
Yeah.
Kid. $4.
And the if you're
Very
not
murdery.
picking up the single issues, the trade just became available for order, so you
Oh,
can
great.
yeah. I plugged it literally yesterday when I was doing the episode.
Gracias.
Yeah. So okay, my favorite final question, one that Fred's had to do a couple of times, so Joe gets to do it first.
Okay.
Um, tell me something that you love, preferably a comic, but like if it's movie, music, book, whatever, something that you love that not enough other people have experienced, read, whatever, and you need them to because you want more people to talk about with it.
Yeah, I have an answer for this. And it's not so much that it's just like my answer and I'm just settled on it, but it's such a great book. And I do not see enough people talking about it. It's honestly, it's my favorite ongoing series out there. And I do feel like it speaks to the future about how we'll be able to get comics, at least in part, right? Which is Rich Tomaso's Black Phoenix. Have you guys heard of this?
I have
Um,
heard about it. I haven't started reading it
yeah,
yet. I
dude,
need
Fred,
to.
you would love it. You of all
Okay.
people, you would seriously love it.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
Rich Tomaso is a cartoonist. He did a bunch of great books at Fantagraphics, and he did some books at Image. In fact, he did a Shutter backup story back in the day. But
Yeah.
every single issue
And
is this
for Fred,
one.
he did a baseball book. He with did Satchel Paige Strikes Out Jim Crow with I'll remember the name in a minute. Keep going,
Okay.
Joe.
But anyway, so every single issue is one cartoonist, right? Writes it, draws it, colors it, letters it by hand. I have some of his original art, and it's all there. Um, and every issue, at least for the first, I'm a little bit behind, but the first like 20, 12 issues, it's all like kind of a different era of like Golden Age, Silver Age kind of stuff, but it riffs it off in his own direction. Again, he does everything. He hand draws the ads. Like if you love comics, it's a book for you. It's so good, and he has a his model is very interesting. He has a Patreon, and you can subscribe different tiers on the Patreon. If you subscribe, I think it's like $12 a month. You get a physical comic every quarter, and it's amazing. So I mention it every time this
From
answer comes on the
Floating
pod.
World, doesn't it?
Well, okay. So then Floating World now does the collections that go through comic
Okay.
shops. So you can
Okay.
get those if you want to get the first. I think they did a hardcover and they did a bunch of single
Yes.
issues, but
I'm
it
Right.
going to
covers like every genre.
I'm going to Emerald City Comic Con on Wednesday, and hopefully they'll have a table.
Yeah, a good
Get
point.
there.
Hopefully they will. But yeah, that's my answer. I love Black Phoenix. Rich Tommaso is awesome. So
I'll plug another small press book I really adore. This is a YA book by my buddy AJ Ampadu, who's doing Shadow Man right now for Valiant. He has a super awesome all ages book called Kimmy Cosmic. It's about this girl who's a space cowboy, and I think it's just fantastic, and the art is fantastic. And he just did a
Kimmy Cos.
Kickstarter for it over the summer, and it's really well done. So I'm plugging Kimmy Cosmic.
Kimmy Cosmic.
K for Kimmy and K for Cosmic.
Okay for Cosmic. There it is. Okay. Space Cowboy Epic.
The artist's name is Emma Galloway. She's fantastic.
Emma Galloway. This looks like my kind of thing. So I thank you both for coming up with things that in one case I knew about but hadn't gotten to, and now need to even more. And in the other one that I don't even know. So Fred, like, congratulations.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's been fun, guys, and hopefully we'll have you back a few times over the next 5 years as the
Right.
story unfolds. Because I mean, I've we live in a mini series society, so one of my favorite things to do has been to have people on to like plug the book, but then do the spoilery conversation when it's time to plug the graphic novel. Um, so like with this one, it feels like we could have a number of spoilery slash
Annual
not
check.
spoilery, yeah, check-ins. um, so thank you so much. It's been a blast, and for 22 panels, we'll see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22panels podcast.